In the short story, The Sound Machine, author Roald Dahl weaves a tale about a man who invents a listening device so sensitive he hears a rose cry out as it's cut for a bouquet, and he hears a tree scream in agony at the first blow from an axe. It's an imaginative story written in the late 40s. And in the late 90s, as it turns out, The Sound Machine isn't just science fiction anymore. From the Amazon rainforest teeming with life, to the old-growth redwoods of America, to the humblest vegetable garden, Earth is sustained by plant life. They give us food, shelter, and the very air we breathe. Plants live so we may live, but there is evidence that they have a secret life of their own.
I think that fundamentally, anything that we see in nature has a life force and energy.
Frank Lapina is a Wintun tribal elder and a professor of art and ethnic studies. He has studied traditional beliefs about the symbiotic relationship between people and plants.
All plants have a purpose. They have a consciousness.
It is called animism, the foundation of many ancient belief systems. Plants carry an eternal life force, a soul that transcends their lifespan. Some modern researchers have attempted to prove this scientifically, but mainstream botanists scoff at even the suggestion that plants have a consciousness.
I personally don't believe that plants have a nervous system. I don't believe that they have feelings.
Dr. Jim Lovelace, a botanist at Humboldt State University in California, wasn't always so sure. 23 years ago, he was inspired by the work of Cleve Baxter and a groundbreaking book called The Secret Life of Plants. He tried to find a soul in the greenhouse and couldn't.
We set up the polygraph and we had experiments on this for 2 years. We, in all of that time, did not get a single response that we could attribute to the communication of plants.
Michael Theroux, director of the Borderland Sciences Research Foundation, says he is having better luck. For the past 2 years, Theroux and his colleagues have designed new machines that do seem to measure some kind of plant communication.
Based on our research, plants, once they hear the sounds of another plant, they start to what appears to be a dialogue between each other.
Theroux believes that he has devised a way for humans to listen in on what the plants are saying. Using a novel system he calls the poor man's polygraph, Theroux is translating the inaudible pulses of plant language into something humans can hear, but not yet understand.
We have the plant hooked up to some tiny electrodes, which goes into a biosensing unit, and through this audio board, we can adjust the tone so that we can actually hear what's going on with the plant.
According to Theroux, what sounds like noise to us now is a plant language scientists must learn to translate.
Orthodox science might have a problem with the fact that plants respond.
I believe that the results that he is getting can be attributed to damage to the cells themselves, the flow of ions out of the cells, and with the proper sensors, perhaps he is detecting that. I don't believe it's the plant talking.
But Theroux's early findings support what Professor and Tribal Elder Lapina says Native Americans have known all along.
What scientists have done by making experiments is reinforce the idea that we are dealing with a life force. We already know they're alive. Now let's see how that relates to the kind of responses that they're getting, and then have a cross-species communication process beginning to be developed. It's a linguistic problem.
Michael Theroux is already trying to bridge this linguistic gap. The Research Center has developed a way to convert plant noise into a visual image. The picture of plant thought is called a biogram.
Plants communicate via what we would call eidetic imagery. They communicate strictly through images, pure images. I believe the more sensitive the plant is, the more interesting the pictures become.
If it is such an obvious phenomenon, Why isn't it generalized throughout the scientific community? I mean, all a plant is a whole bundle of adaptations to environmental conditions that exist now or did exist in the past. That's why the plant's here.
You have a philosophical gap in what the world is about and what its purpose and meaning can be. Because we would say not only plants, but the earth, stones are also alive. The water is alive.
The debate will only be over, Theroux says, when someone can finally prove that plants are more than chlorophyll factories. Once that is accomplished, we will hear an earth-shattering message.
Life is valuable in whatever form or shape that it is.
Plants are only the first step for Michael Theroux. His ultimate goal is to use his sensors on people to listen for subtle signs of illness. Theroux hopes that one day doctors will be able to give very early diagnoses and save many more lives.
In 1995, they came in force. Now, have UFOs returned to South Korea?
If Earth is being visited, they're speeding up the process.